Leathers, you're on. Yo.
Good evening. I'm Peter Knox. These are the Leathers. This is 15 Minutes of Shame, and you're welcome to it.
Hello.
Hello.
Guys, how's it going?
Really great,
Good man.
Are you a two-piece band?
We're a two-piece band.
How's that working out
With four
for
legs.
It's
Good.
been really, it's been really great, isn't it?
It's been good fun. It's yeah.
We've normally been in three pieces for like years and years and years,
you? Uh-huh.
so it's kind of interesting just to drop the one guy.
Yeah, drop the bassoon.
exactly.
But I always thought
The bassoon?
you never really needed that. I thought
No.
that you guys...
There's a
you
place for a
drums,
bassoon.
You singing and vocals.
Well, we're thinking about just being drums and bassoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we dropped it, unfortunately.
Okay,
It
what
broke.
other bands have you been in?
Together we've been in Rusty Springfield, which
Right.
was probably 10 years ago,
15 years ago.
15 years ago. So we did that for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And
And then we
then
did the Dynamite Pussy Club,
Yeah.
which obviously we played with you guys
Yes.
a few
this
times.
is where we met you.
Magnificent band.
And
Yes. Great
yeah,
band.
and then we had a bit of a gap
What
after
happened?
doing that for about 8 years.
What happened to the Pussy Club?
Nothing really. I think we just, not saying we've knocked it on the head or anything. It's
No.
just just having a bit of a. We all
Do you find it
love
difficult
Danny.
keeping
Hello, Danny. Love you, mate.
everything together? You've all got jobs and
I think maybe
other
that
things to
was.
be doing.
Yeah, that's probably a bit what happened with the Pussy Club, really. I think because it's pretty full on for a bit, and I don't know. Perhaps we just all, not to sound like Mick Jagger or anything, but
Oh, sound like it.
yeah, all right. But I don't know.
You
We
start
sort of,
really annoying each other.
yeah. No, not annoying each other. Just
Not at all.
I don't know. Almost,
I think it was more just like we had a really fucking good run of it, and we
Yeah.
never, ever fucking had on any prima donna bullshit, and we did almost 100 gigs.
Mhm.
which
Well, there
is
was that
nuts.
one time.
What happened?
I wanted sequins.
Yeah, we
But
had
no,
to put
no.
our foot
The
down
sequence
about
you
that. Danny,
deserve.
Danny wasn't having it,
Absolutely.
fortunately, so he took the brunt of Chris's tears.
I feel like somebody's going to come up and like
Anything
start
could happen.
like,
Anything
dogging.
could
Like,
fucking
was it
happen.
like,
But
like-
yeah, so it's weird. Like we had this gap, and now we just did a random practice, and loads of really great stuff came out of it. And like, obviously, me and Chris have been playing with each other
Yeah.
For many
over
years.
15
I think
years.
I think we know each other's.
vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's sort of cosmic. Like,
How did you meet?
I got drafted in because their old drummer.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it anymore for Rusty Springfield.
Rusty
And then me, interestingly, the very first practice was just me and Chris as a two-piece, wasn't it?
Spooky, I forgot about that.
And when it was like, well, let's see if he can, like, let's go through some of the songs. And it was just him playing bass and me playing drums. And it was like, fuck yeah, this
Right.
is great.
Okay.
And then this is even before I met Dan and all the rest
Dan
of it.
Bird.
Before we
Or
did
Dan.
like the,
Everyone we play
before the
with is called
guitar
Dan.
vibes came into it, and we had an instant rhythmic sort of synergy with each other as far as music goes.
Would you mind putting that way? Because
It's gonna
it
fuck it up.
might mess with it. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, I like my
Sorry.
arrow. I'm going to turn it off.
Sorry.
Chris loves
And-
his arrow.
Who's the most annoying person in the band if it's just the two of you?
Me probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is
I'm
like a
not.
fucking
I'm not
rock.
annoying at all.
No.
Chris is like this fucking. He's like the most zen rock and
No,
roll
because
dude.
I've been really rude and offensive to you before, and you've not been bothered about it at all whatsoever.
It just bounces
Have you-
off him. He's like a fucking ethereal dude. Believe me, like like I've worked with him for many years and like been in vans and
Getting
fucking.
embarrassed
I've
now.
only ever seen him get pissed off once, and it was so fucking scary. And me and Danny were being dicks, to be fair.
Uh-huh.
And he was just like,
I have
fucking
got-
had it.
I have got a
fucking
level.
had it.
There is a.
And we were like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Words were said.
But no, but this is one time out of 15 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When I hear about all the fucking punch
when I'm
ups
at
and
home, though,
palavers-
when I'm at home on my own, there's a baseball bat, and I go.
No, but like when you hear about all the fucking palavers with other
Yeah.
bands, with people like fucking all this drama in the rehearsal room and all this drama at the fucking recording studio and at gigs and all that sort of shit. None of that stuff ever happened.
No.
You know, I think we've always just.
Just go on with
But
it.
yeah, it's been at the end of the day, you want to enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to enjoy it. If you're going to start like, if it's going to be a drama, and which is, I guess, like why I don't know, like when Ed joined Rusty, you know, it wasn't fun basically. So you get, you sort it out, don't you?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, all bands, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, because it's got to be, it's its own reward.
yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's
Yeah.
making any fucking money
Not
out
in
of
it
it.
for the money.
So like, why the fuck should it be a fucking major drain?
It shouldn't be, should it?
You know what I mean? You all should be pushing in the same direction.
Well, it's all good. It's good if you're all on that same musical
Completely. Makes a
Yeah.
massive
vibe as well.
difference.
'Cause yeah.
So,
But then I guess if we weren't, it wouldn't be fun
No.
because if
are you both right into the same music? 'Cause I know you've got very diverse tastes because you do.
I listen to all
a
sorts
lot
of stuff.
of. I've been in your house, Eddie, and you've got more records than any record shop I've ever been in.
he could be a record shop, couldn't he?
Yeah,
Ed's
he could.
Records.
Mm-hmm.
Open
I've
Sundays.
never worked in a record
But
shop
you wouldn't
actually.
want to sell them, would you?
No, I'm
so-
not really into that whole sort of rare records
Yeah.
vibe. So
Right,
I'm not
that's
one of
not-
those sort of collectors.
Yeah, yeah.
Really. It's not-
But yeah, I
it's
think
not
we got a
making-
similar. We got a shared level of sort of, funk and so like Ed, like you say, Ed's musical encyclopedia. But yeah, I love all, funk and soul and garage rock and
Well, rock and roll and all
yeah,
that sort
rock
of stuff.
and roll.
We have very similar.
I like a groove. I like
Yeah.
all music that's
Yeah, as far
I
as
like
like
anything
having a
that-
fat
Got
back
the groove.
Yes.
vibe.
yeah.
Me and him have always been really similar about that, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do in this band. We're not trying.
Yeah,
it's,
what-
it's just happening. It's
What
just,
are you doing? Are you just getting together and playing, and that was it? Simple.
Well, that's
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
what
some of
happened.
it-
But loads of fucking songs came out.
Yeah,
of it.
some of it is sort
Loads
of.
of songs came out of it. It was really wild.
Yeah. We got like I don't know, have like a riff or an idea, and we'll just jam it out. Sometimes we just start playing, but I might have had like a little riff or something that's mucking about with.
But we really
before,
trimmed the
and,
fat off everything.
yeah.
That's also been really nice. Whenever we get really like, oh yeah, let's put this little break in here and put that, and then it's just like, what the fuck am I doing that for? You know what I mean? Just fucking just hack it off. And it's always better. You know what I mean? But that's the rule for most people. I
What's
think.
the average length of your songs?
I don't know, 2
So,
minutes.
2-3 minutes.
2 minutes.
2-3 minutes.
Yeah, longest I would say is about 3.
But that's not a conscious
No.
decision. I don't know. Like Ed said, it's more of a
what
you
feels
get
right.
if you start getting a bit sort of like I don't know.
Yeah,
then
why
you
are
sort
we
of think
making this harder for
people
ourselves?
watching might start getting a bit
Yeah.
like yeah. So
I'm very conscious of the way it comes over, of like.
Because you see a lot of bands yourself. So
Well, yeah,
you
and
can learn
like-
from that.
Yeah, and DJing a lot as well. You have this idea of programming, of like things that work well after other things, and how people's attention spans go up and down and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And also, we're both very into like performance and the way that people react to certain things. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's hard to keep people's attention for 45 minutes. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the way it is. I mean, anybody that plays in bands knows that there's always that like fucking lag.
Yeah.
And it's just that the way to
hit people and keep them.
just keep them in
Yeah.
that like it's
Leave
like,
them. It's almost like leave people wanting more of that
yeah.
on each song in a way, I guess.
and
trying
and really experimenting with real primitivism, if you like, has been really liberating. In that, like, rather because a lot of the bands we've been like Pussy Club was quite it was quite complicated in certain
Yeah,
parts.
yeah.
And Rusty was as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
we
actually-
have our transitions, and it's all
I
really
feel though,
tight,
is doing
you know.
this. I've actually, I feel like I'm not saying I'm a, I can play rhythm guitar, but I feel like I have. Not saying like guitar wanker, but I
but-
feel like I'm developing my guitar skills.
No, and
in this.
interestingly, because it's not as loud. I mean, it is loud rhythmically, but it's not loud noise. There's no noise in it in the way there was before. Like Chris's vocals have completely changed because he's not shouting over the top of things
Yeah, yeah,
as
it's
much as
more-
he used to be. And when I've played it to people who have an objective attitude, that know us from the Puss Club, and then hear some leather stuff, they're like, "Wow, Chris's voice is like."
Shite.
Completely different. No, like completely different because
Yeah.
he's relaxed.
Uh-huh.
He's not like having to shout over himself, me, and a guitar player making loads of noise as well.
Yeah.
Because it's that less is more sort of thing, which has always been something I'm really fascinated. And Chris has turned me on to so many great primitive bands and all that sort of stuff. Because
Got any
obviously,
recommendations that anyone should maybe check out?
Well, so
What,
it's-
in
rock and roll stuff?
I don't know, but I mean, I always the bands that I always enjoy. Not that they play much these days, but like obviously. I love James Brown and just the thing he did.
Yeah, he doesn't play much
No, he
these
doesn't.
days.
Well, he does. And
Easy, isn't it?
and then there's like the band, the Makeup, and
ESG.
yeah, ESG, and like John Spencer, Blues, like all,
course.
but they're all like, they all those bands, they perform. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
They,
Put on
they
a show.
yeah, that's it. And I think,
But they have such a stripped back attitude. That's one of
Yeah.
those things that, especially when you really get into some of those bands, and you get really cosmically deep into some of the grooves.
yeah.
You get really like, fuck, this is like they've been doing like basically a groove around one note for
Yeah,
like 20
that's
minutes.
it.
Yeah.
But I think
You know,
both of
and
us as
why
well.
is this so intense? You know
We've
what I
been
mean?
getting into I know you've probably been into a bit, but like all that analog Africa stuff, haven't we? And the
Well, just
rhythms and-
Afrobeat in general.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's all
African music for me and Latin music's been like a massive thing
Yeah.
for me over the last like 5 years, which wasn't before, as far as getting more involved in that sort of thing.
Right.
And I really like all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
anyway, just because of the beats.
But there's a label, Analog Africa, though, that bringing out all this.
yeah, yeah.
And it's all like
Just
so-
finding all this old
yeah,
stuff.
it's just brilliant. But it's
Because
all
they-
quite like basic because they only had like crappy 4 tracks and all this sort of
so
thing.
we just had to keep
But they
it
hit
minimal.
they hit a groove.
I know, but
and-
there's a lot of people talk about African music in that like that musically it's like really futuristic, but it was recorded on stuff from the 70s because of the nature of the economics and record business in Africa. It's completely different than it is over here. So it's really futuristic, but it sounds like it was recorded in the 70s, even
Yeah.
if they're
They're
like
using, like,
15,
Moogs and-
20 years behind everybody in technology, but they're almost the same in advancement when it comes to like grooves and beats and playing. I mean, these guys are like they got
Brilliant,
insane fucking chops. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
a load of people. It's no secret how great these bands were.
Why would you like
and
that?
Maybe if
still
you
are.
shine it up
Well,
upon
why
you
we don't
because
have a
it's
light?
getting dark. Maybe put it on your knees, shine it up at both of you.
we got a sound check in a minute.
Yeah,
we got
I
a sound check
Yeah.
in a
We
minute.
got a
Clive.
sound check.
I'd just like to say,
oh, it's been really great. Man.
Yeah.
before you sound check, we're in Bath at the moment,
Bath, England, man, West Coast.
and I
Not
noticed
quite.
across, there used to be a building across there, it's now a pile of rubble. There used to be
Yeah,
something
yeah.
across the road. I believe the Goblin shut down the Hob, is that right?
Yeah, there's been a lot of gentrification in Bath over the last 10 years or so.
Well,
There's-
it's everywhere, isn't it?
There's
Yeah.
no venues left in town. The Royal
Yeah.
Oak, which is like a legendary venue,
Brilliant place.
is still holding on. But
Moles is still.
we're talking like 3 venues when there used to be like 8.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That all these places get turned into something
Yuppie
else or just
flats
knocked
or
down. Or
Cafe
shops
Nero
or
or something,
whatever.
yeah.
I mean, like, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And like places where if it's just like, oh, is it okay to we're just here to like play music and make some noise
There's
and
Mr. Owen.
express ourselves in the way we want to. It's getting tougher and tougher all round, but Bath is so small that there's no room for give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of controversy. I'm not against the student economy in any way, but like there has to be a bit of a balance. You know what I mean? In a town this size, it's really tough.
Do you think there's anything we can do? I've been trying to think of solutions, but
Well, I
Well-
think they need to stop stop building stuff next to
yeah,
where there's
where
venues.
people
But
are-
they are going to stop. Aren't they doing something where you can't if you move next to a music venue,
Yeah.
you can't
Complaining about it.
complain about
can you?
it.
Yeah, which is good because there's been a lot of stuff like that in Bristol.
Owen, could you put your lights on again for a minute, please? Your headlights. Could you put your headlights on for a second, please? But we need to go anyway. But
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think it's going to come back around personally because everything always comes back around again.
I hope
I
so.
think we're just in this fucking. People
Bubble
are going to
of,
get fucking tired of boutique pizza shops
Yeah.
and fucking all that shit, and it's going to be like, oh, hang on, what the fuck happened to culture? And the beautiful thing about rock and roll, the beautiful thing about this sort of stuff is that it will happen no matter what the fuck it's
Here's Owen.
inflicted with.
Yeah.
You know, like if
Here's
you
a
look back
here's a
through
legend.
the
Here's a
history
legend
of
of here's a legend of
music,
the.
there's things there's scenes that have been inflicted with way worse
This guy.
things than we're talking about. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
where like they didn't even
Right.
have venues.
Yeah.
There were no venues, so they would
Music.
just like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would rent out town halls
People-
and just
You
play
can't
these
go and sound
insane
check.
fucking
Yeah.
punk rock shows and get busted by the police,
no.
and it was all really like bandit as fuck. You know, like
Sorry,
this
I'm going.
They were just creating scenes out of nothing, and like literally nothing. So it's
Chris
not like
is-
we haven't got anything.
Chris is going, I suppose there's only so much people want to see a middle-aged men chatting in vans. So,
I love it.
I'm into it.
have
I
a
love
great
it.
show.
Great to see you,
Looking
man.
forward to
Thank
it.
You
you.
on
We love you.
Hang on, E4, middle-aged men chatting in vans.
Yeah.
Peace
it's
and
gonna be on
fucking
Dave next year.
believe.